Hello everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to another design team project for Not Too Shabby. Don't forget to use your coupon JEN10 for 10% off your total purchase. So today I am making another card using the Lawn Fawn Keep on Swimming stamp set. I'm just going to use the little kitty today to create our scene, and then I'm going to bring in some other products. So to start off, I wanted to make a background for my scene here. So I'm using the Deco Foil. This is by Thermoweb. It's the Metallix Gel in White Pearl. And I thought I would go ahead and color it up. I wanted a soft blue color for my little brick wall. I started out using the alcohol pearl ink in Tranquil. And you can see here, once I started mixing it up, the color completely disappeared. So I don't know if it was just because I didn't have enough color, but I decided to switch it up so I didn't waste too much ink, and I got out my Distress Oxide Reinker in Peacock Feathers, and that worked a lot better. So I'm just using a laminated sheet of 110-pound cardstock here for my background and a palette knife to mix up the Metallix Gel. And I'm just going to smooth that down onto my stencil. I'm using my favorite brick stencil. This is called the English Brick Wall. It's by MFT. And I went ahead and used some purple tape just to adhere the stencil to the back of my card base. Now I did cut my card panel here slightly larger than an A2 size card, so I could go ahead and cut this down once I had my gel onto the background. So I live on the east coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, and we have lots of beautiful, fun, bright colored houses by the ocean here. So this was kind of the look I was going for with the blue or aqua colored brick wall. So just about have that done. I'm going to let that dry for a couple hours. It does say on the container to leave it for an hour, but I think when you have this large of a piece of paper, it definitely needs longer to dry, and even the 2 hours wasn't long enough. You'll see a little bit of a blooper here as I move on to creating the card, but once I peeled that up, it looked absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to take off the tape and let that dry, and then I'm going to do some coloring. So like I said, I'm just going to use the little cat from the Keep on Swimming stamp set. I'm stamping this out on some Spectrum Noir premium cardstock, and I thought I'd use my Spectrum Noir markers today. I know a lot of you have these markers and always ask to see more videos using the Spectrum Noirs. So I'm using my kind of cool gray colors here. I'm using IG9, IG7, IG5, and IG4. And I'm just going in and I'm coloring up my little kitty with my IG4 just to saturate the paper. I'm going to come in and use my darkest marker, the IG9, to lay down those darkest shadows, doing a little by his ear and the top of his head, underneath his ears, underneath the back of his head, and then around his tail and where his body meets his two little paws there. Once I get that down, I'm going to pull that color out with my IG7, just bringing that out a little bit more, and then I'll come in with the IG5 and continue to blend out those colors. I'm only going to use or to leave a little area there for the IG4 for a slight highlight down his back. Once I get this first full layer of coloring done, I decide that I want to pull out some of the darker color a little bit more. So after I complete the blending with the IG4, I'm going to bring the IG7 back and color a larger area using that particular marker. And then once I get that done, I'll bring the IG5 back and pull that out even further, and then blend those all out again with the IG4. And I just feel like this gives our black kitty just the perfect color combination. I'm going to move on to creating the card. I'm going to be using the Spring Fling 6x6 paper pad here, this pretty butterfly paper, and on the back of that is the pink that I'm going to use for the door. So I'm just showing you here, I've gone ahead and I've cut out the pieces that I need using the dies already. And here's where you can tell that the metallic gel was not quite dry. I put a piece of computer paper over top of it so that it wouldn't stick to my cutting plates in my big shot, but it ended up sticking to that computer paper. And so I have an area where a lot of that gel came up, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that. First, I'm just going to kind of rub my fingers and try to get that paste to move so that the areas don't look as big. I'm going to just use the door here to figure out how much of this I need to fix, or if the door will cover up most of it. So I'm just going to continue to use my finger, and then I realize that's just not going to do it. So I'm going to take the leftover piece of the panel that I made, and I'm just going to cut out a little piece of the bricks, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere that on to the panel. Now in the end, I didn't need to do this because I brought in a little bit of decoration to actually cover up this flaw in the card, but I'd spent so much time doing this background and letting it dry, I just didn't want to start over. And the majority of times you can find a way to fix mistakes that happen. So that sort of covers it up pretty well. And so I'm going to continue on making our card here. I'm going to stamp out the sentiment. I'm using a stamp from the MFT Greetings and Salutations, and it reads, "It's me again," which I thought is pretty cute. And I'm also going to stamp the sentiment on the inside from the same stamp set that says "It's been a while." So I'm just going to go ahead here and I'm going to adhere my kitty to the little doorsteps. I was just showing you that I used my Memento Tuxedo black marker to outline the kitty after I colored it, which brought back some of those darker lines to outline the image. I'm going to go ahead and use just a scrap piece of white cardstock for behind the door so you can't see through to that brick pattern paper on the back. I'm going to adhere my butterfly paper to a standard A2 size card base. I did cut that out with a stitched rectangle die from Lawn Fawn. I just needed to trim up the side of my card base a little bit there. And then I used some double-sided adhesive to adhere down the panel with the brick wall. I wanted to make sure that that wasn't going to move, and that double-sided tape is extremely sticky. So now I'm just trying to figure out where I want to place my door. Originally, I wanted it to look like a house and have the doorsteps and the door to the bottom of the card, but I didn't think that looked right. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the door almost to the middle of my card panel here. And of course, I didn't get that adhered down properly, so I just needed to move that a little bit. I did use the double-sided tape again for that, and then I went ahead and popped up my kitty and the doorsteps on some foam tape. So I'm going to get the cat in place, and then I am going to use some of the pattern paper to fix my flaw here once I stamp that sentiment on the inside of the card. So I actually was trying to figure out what embellishment I wanted to use to fix this, and so I was able to cut out 3 of the little butterflies from the same pattern paper that I used for our background. And I'm just going to scatter those around the card. My glue was a little clogged there, just had to fix that. And so this yellow butterfly is actually covering up those imperfections in the brick wall. And no one will ever know, except for all of you, that I had that little fumble with the die cutting. So to finish the card, I'm just adding the door handle, and then there's also a little circular die that comes in the Shut the Front Door die set as well. And there's the card for today. So I hope you've enjoyed these 2 cards using the little kitties from the Keep on Swimming stamp set by Lawn Fawn. Thanks as always for watching and leaving such sweet comments. I really do appreciate it. Bye.